is up, Colorado? Welcome back to a new episode of Nuggets and Brews, where we talk Denver Nuggets and we get to drink Colorado craft beer. What's up, Kyle? How you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's a beautiful Saturday afternoon here in the Mile High City. Can't beat this early fall weather, or not quite fall weather, but
September, baby.
But you can feel it a little bit. Football has started. It's almost time for basketball.
That's
Training
right.
camp's underway.
That's right.
I mean, we're just a couple weeks from preseason, so I mean, the new season's just around the corner.
It's coming close. But anyways, thank you so much for tuning in to Nuggets and Brews. I'm your host, Misa. Again, this is my friend Kyle. And today we're just going to be chit-chatting today. We're going to be just spitballing today. We're going to be talking about the Nuggets and Jamal Murray just signed last week, actually. They both agreed on a 2-year, $208 million contract extension. And like I said on Guerrilla Sports, this is awesome for both parties. And we're going to get all into that. And we're also going to be doing a little division preview. We're going to be talking about the top 3 teams, which were the best 3 teams in the league in the Western Conference last year. So we're gonna do a little prediction, like who's gonna finish first, second, and third. And obviously Portland's gonna be fourth. So we're not even gonna talk about Portland because they're still doing a little rebuild. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that. And also, I think we need to dedicate a little bit of our time to Nikola Jokic. Let's just let's fanboy a little bit today about Nikola Jokic and his greatness.
You want to just bask in the glory? We
need to bask in the glory and also kind of hype ourselves up because we saw some awesome things from Nikola Jokic this summer in the Olympics, and we haven't talked about Nikola Jokic in like 3 episodes, so I think it's deserved.
Well, what else can we say that I'm super excited to see the big fella again on the court. I can't wait to see what kind of mentality comes in. I know he pushed hard for us to get Westbrook. I'd love to see what their chemistry may look like in some minutes. I hope he's just really got some time to himself over the last couple of months, and that he's ready to go, ready to compete again. I think last season probably left a little sourness in him. I think he got addicted to winning in FY23. So
he's all about winning. He's all about the culture. So we're gonna get all into it. But first and foremost, we want to thank What's Boss Brewing. It's off of what is this,
22nd in California?
22nd California. Great brewery. This is really open space. It feels like a cabin in here. Awesome beers. It's just a great place to hang out. It feels like I'm in a lodge, big old lodge. It's there's wood everywhere. There's a big old chunk of tree that you can set your drinks in. It's just a really great brewery. I hadn't been here in a while, but I do get their beers whenever I'm out in the grocery store or whatever. Yeah. They do carry some of their stuff over at Whole Foods, so I tend to get some of their IPAs from there. I got this strawberry peach blonde ale or something like that. I forgot what it was called. It's like no.
It was no root, no peacock.
No root, no peacock, something like that. So it was really good.
I think it was a strawberry mandarin blonde ale, right?
Something like that. Yeah. But it's super crispy, super delicious. What you drinking on, Kyle?
This is the Backcountry Buddy. It is a hazy IPA.
Sounds like a great backcountry buddy. Just a crack open when you're in the middle of the woods.
It's definitely dank, and as you can see, it is so hazy.
Oh, dude, there's nothing like a good hazy beer. I mean, it's not even hazy. That looks like pineapple juice. Hold it up to the camera, Kyle, and see if you can just tell our viewers.
Yeah, it is thick.
It's thick. It is a thick looking beer, but it looks really, really good.
It is super tasty.
It's awesome. So yeah, make sure to come check out What's Boss, and make sure to follow them on all the social media. And they were super nice to allow us to film here, and they're actually really nice people. So we try to. I think the goal for what we're doing, whenever we do these shows at a brewery, we're trying to get a manager or an owner to come sit down with us. And unfortunately, they were a little busy today, but in the future we'll try and accommodate and try to do it ahead of time. Today it was just kind of on a whim. We were like, hey, let's just hang out, go watch some college football. I think right now CU and CSU is playing right now, and we were just like, let's go hang out and talk a little bit Nuggets, drink some beers, and talk some football. So, Cal, let's start out with the Jamal Murray extension. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Is it too much money? What do you think about it?
To be honest, it was pretty much what I expected. Mm-hmm. When I heard the news and I saw the numbers and everything, I was like, yep. I mean, it wasn't. I don't think it's too high considering just where the market is. Also, when you look at what we paid MPJ, you look at what we obviously what we paid Jokic, but that's a whole different story. the relationship between Jamal and Jokic and the chemistry of kind of that core of the team, it is pretty much where I kind of expected it to be. I will say there's a lot of prove it in that contract. There's a lot of faith with that kind of money, but I mean, that's ultimately what it took to get done. To be honest, I actually thought it was going to be a little higher whenever the first offer, whenever they kind of stalled the negotiations.
I think the initial one was 204, which was on the table, and I think they just upped it by like another 400,000 or something like that. Which is, it's not max contract. It is max contract, but it's not like the top. They weren't going to completely give him the kitchen sink, and I think a lot of that obviously was because of Jamal's inability to stay healthy.
Well, he, without the All-Star and without some of the other things, he is not available for quite yet for that Supermax. So, like Jokic,
again, like you were saying, it's a prove it year.
But Jokic qualifies for a Supermax.
Yeah.
He's just in a tier, just like the way the NBA's player agreement is. Mm-hmm. That literally, Jokic is going to make crazy money if he stays in Denver. So that's just it.
Yeah. Honestly, think it was money well spent. I mean, we've grown. Listen, the Nuggets had to do this, regardless. Like, who else were you gonna? If you weren't gonna pay Jamal, who else were you gonna get? Like, there's really no one that's available to that caliber player. And if you were to get somebody else, it would have just disrupted so many things. It would have created drama, unnecessary drama. Like, Jokic and Murray are like a top duo in the NBA. Why would you mess with that? Why would you even create any sort of distraction?
Once again, to me, this comes down to this is Jokic's running mate.
Yeah.
This is Jokic's buddy. Like,
you don't want to make Jokic mad.
Exactly. Like, if it, at the same time, we've seen the team without Murray. We said this last episode that we've seen the team with and without Murray, that it was almost a no-brainer.
There was 2 playoff series when he was injured that you and I kept saying, dang, imagine if we had Murray. It would have been a better series.
And then the very
next season, we won a championship. Yeah. And then the following season, we go to the second round with a game 7, to continue to go deep, and it goes to show that one, the Nuggets have tremendous confidence in Murray, but also you have to commit to Murray in one way or another because the success that he's brought to the organization, and you've seen the contrast of wins when he's on the floor and when he's not. So,
well, a big part of it too is even this year we saw the brilliance of Murray. We saw the game 2 shot. We saw the game 5 shot. Yeah. We saw the half court freaking heave. I mean, and also, like, weirdly enough, it's almost like in both Jokic's and Murray's case, they work best off each other. Yeah. Like, if you looked at the Olympics, Murray looked like he was playing hurt and out of place. Yeah. Like, he did not, that wasn't his offense to run. Yeah. In the same way that he fits in with the Jokic offense. Yeah. You even look at sometimes when Murray's by himself on our bench. Yeah. And it's kind of like he doesn't know quite how to flow. He is so accustomed to running alongside Jokic. Yeah. But similarly, Jokic is accustomed to running alongside him. In the Olympics, Jokic still did really incredible things. Mm-hmm. But, like, without the threat of that 2-man action, the stuff that Murray brings in there, Jokic wasn't as effective in the Olympics as you see him on the Nuggets.
The Serbian team didn't really have that, like, straight quick cutter that kind of Jamal is, and, like, they didn't have that type of player, and you can
the tough shot maker either.
Yeah, they didn't have a tough shot maker. So, I mean, I honestly, I'm happy they got this done. I'm happy that both parties kind of came into agreement, and they got it done before the season even started. So now you throw that distraction out the window. Yep. There's really no need.
And one more point on that. The Nuggets are still, or not still in, but like are pretty much in the middle of a championship window.
Absolutely.
Right? And you don't want to F up the continuity of your core in the middle of a championship window.
The continuity has been the Nuggets' MO for years now. Mm-hmm. And, again, why would you mess with it? It was just like I think a couple podcasts ago when we were over at Fiction, like, you asked me if I was concerned. I was like, no, because obviously I don't think Jamal's been in Denver, and I think as soon as he came back to Denver, the contract got signed, the extension got signed. So I think it was just a matter of like when they were just going to be in the same room at the same time, and luckily it happened before the season even started. So I'm just happy you have your team ready to go. You have all your distractions gone. Like I think the only thing that is kind of going to be a talking point of the Nuggets this season is just going to be shooting. We don't have that much shooters this year, and I think that's going to be just the only talking point.
Yeah, unless Strouder turns out to be a flamethrower.
And obviously, the whole Russell Westbrook experiment. That's going to be the two main topics. But then it's because you still have Jamal Murray, you still have Nikola Jokic running that dynamic two-man game. MPJ,
Aaron Gordon, Christian Brown. I mean, we know what that starting five is going to look like because we've seen that starting five so much over the last 2 years. Even like let's be honest, we've ran that lineup in the playoffs the last 2 years. We've ran that lineup during regular season to give KCP rest. So we know what to expect out of that lineup, and we know it's not a huge drop off from with KCP. The question mark is always going to be this bench.
Yeah,
I'm kind of bullish on the new look bench with Sarge and Westbrook alongside Peyton Watson, Julian Strawther. I think particularly with Westbrook and Watson running beside each other, that you could have a level of toughness on this bench. Like they could be kind of a bad boys bench.
A little like
play hard.
They're definitely going to be physical.
Play hard defense, rim protect, and then run on offense.
They're going to play fast. And I hope they play fast.
And I'm anticipating some highlight dunks.
Yeah, me too, dude. Let's. I'm going to ask you this before we move on to another topic. Just off the bat, like who is like one player that you're kind of looking forward to? Not anyone other than Jokic, Murray. Like what's another player that you're kind of looking forward to watch and maybe progress or get better, or just like
MPJ?
It's gonna have a phenomenal season.
Obviously it's MPJ. MPJ had a great season last year, and he was our most consistent player in the playoffs. And if he plays like that this year, like even if he plays at that level, if he doesn't take a step back, even if this is a plateau year for him, particularly on defense, the way he defended last year, he was no longer a liability. Matter of fact, he made some monster defensive plays throughout the season in the playoffs last year.
Defense.
He sold out on defense at times, and he hit timely shots.
Yeah.
If he can be that player again this year, and then maybe just be a little more consistent, like he was like his most consistent self that we've seen so far last year. If he could just improve that by a little bit, he's going to be a monster this year. Maybe improve his ball handling a little bit. Maybe work on getting to the basket a little more.
Toughen up his hands a little bit. There was many times where he would get a rebound and they would just kind of slap it out of him and stuff like that. But hey, his trajectory's still going up, and the upside to MPJ is like a Kevin Durant with better defense. So and a
much thicker body,
and a little bit thicker body. So I think he's on that trajectory. Will he get there? Who knows? But the dude's still young, and so far he stayed healthy. And last year he played 80 games or something like that. He only missed one game, so he was like the most. MPJ was the healthiest out of everybody. So I'm really excited for MPJ. For me, I don't think this player is going to have like a breakout season, like statistically, where he's going to get like better. I think he's going to be more inspired, and I think you're going to see Aaron Gordon. I think to me, Aaron Gordon is going to play incredible, inspired basketball because, if you don't know, his brother passed away, and he changed his number from 50 to 32, and I think this is going to be the season where he is going to play incredibly inspired basketball. And God rest his soul, rest in peace. I think he's going to be playing out of his mind this year. I think to a point where, his statistics might actually improve, but I think he's going to be incredibly detrimental to the team, where it's going to be undeniable that he is like the backbone of that starting five.
I think there's all that. I do, and once again, it's just such a tragic situation. Our thoughts and prayers and all that kind of, all that kind of stuff still with that family. It's been a minute, but still, that's not a quick process to heal from.
Absolutely not.
I think that's going to be an inspiration for him. I think there's still the Olympic snub because he really thought he was going to make the team this year. And he got the last minute got bumped. I think he's coming out of this I think you're right. I think inspired's the right word.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could see a level of determination out of him this year that you haven't seen in previous years, which is hard to think of for Aaron Gordon. That dude seems to go all out in so many ways. But yeah, I mean, and, you know, that was going to be my next pick if I didn't pick MPJ. But I just thought MPJ had the bigger upside because I think even a super inspired Aaron Gordon. It's just going to be a more beast mode Aaron Gordon.
Yeah.
Whereas I think
that's what
MPJ
I don't think his stats are going to go any higher, or maybe by a little bit, but not like, oh my god.
But he's going to make some key plays.
But he's going
to take over some games.
Oh yeah. There's going to be games where you're going to be like, damn, Aaron Gordon just posterized 4 dudes at once or something like that. Where it just. But I mean, you know, again, you know, God rest his soul. You know, I feel so bad for Aaron Gordon to get such tragic news, and it's just. You know, we've dealt with one of our brothers as well, and we totally get that. But man, I think he's going to be a incredibly key contributor to this year, more so than last year. And
speaking of which, too, the personal tragedies that MPJ and his family has gone through. Mm-hmm. You know, so you have 2 players who this offseason are in towards the end of the playoffs, stuff like that, has been very hard on their personal lives.
That's true.
And it's going to be interesting to see how they rise to overcome that. You know?
Yeah.
We saw in the playoffs with MPJ, there were games during that stretch where you're like, why are you here, bro? And then homeboy was just showing up every night, doing his job, hitting shots, grabbing crazy, you know, playing, just going in there to work. I expected nothing nothing different out of him coming out of the off season. But like you said, I could definitely see that new mentality out of Aaron Gordon, particularly this year.
Yeah,
you know, I could see this being a dedication year.
Yeah, absolutely. But one more person I think might have a little bit of a breakout year. And I'm hoping it's Peyton Watson.
Oh yeah.
I really hope Peyton Watson has worked on his shooting, because we saw a little bit more threes last year from him last year. He hit quite a few last year as well on open shots, and then but I think he's got to get better whenever defenders are coming towards him. He would hit his open shots, but there was moments where you know, he would kind of hesitate a little bit when people were jumping at him.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Maybe that's something that he can work on.
I kind of feel like a little bit like he didn't take as many shots last year. I think when his first year in the league, he was more of that shooter, or more quick to take that shot. What I was more impressed with him last year was he wasn't as quick to take the 3 whenever he could get to the basket.
Yeah,
there were times
he would drive.
There were times in his first year that he would just jack up a 3. Where last year, when he see that defender come out, he would put the ball down and then get to the basket for a dunk or an easy layup.
Although the one thing, you know, having said that, is like, once he does that, I would love to see his improvement of like decision making when someone rotates over to kind of cut him off. We would see multiple plays last year where he would kind of get stuck in the paint and either turn it over or you know, luckily he would find an open.
Yeah, usually he's big enough that it doesn't trap him like when you trap a guard.
And so,
you know?
Is he working on a stop pull up, or like a stop like?
Just having maybe having somebody like Russell Westbrook or somebody that just learning to see the floor better, because usually in those situations it's not. Yeah, you can have an offensive weapon like a pull up or something like that, but knowing where the open guy is more important.
Yeah,
knowing that if a double team comes or somebody comes coming, there's a spot, especially at your height, to get the ball to an open shooter.
The awareness is where I would like to see.
Yeah.
You know, him improve, and I think he will. He's a smart player, and the Nuggets.
And I think adding Westbrook and Sarge is going to improve the IQ of that bench.
Absolutely.
I mean, no matter what you can say about Westbrook, whether you like his attitude or different things about him, he is a smart player on the floor.
Smart player.
And I think Sarge is
a smart player too. He's an old school dynamic point guard where he sees the floor, he understands where everybody is supposed to be at all times, and hopefully Peyton Watson learns from him throughout the season and just improves their overall game. But anyways, we're going to take a quick break. We're probably going to get another beer, and on our next segment, we're going to talk about the division a little bit. You know, we'll do a little prediction of where the Nuggets are going to land, along with the Thunder and the Timberwolves. And then we're just going to talk a little bit of Jokic, just kind of fan out a little bit, because we just love Nikola Jokic, and we're getting a little excited for the season, and we just can't wait to see Big Honey in action again. So maybe reminisce on a couple plays that from last season that were just like, dang, that was awesome. So anyways, you're watching Nuggets and Brews. My name is Misa. I got Kyle with me, and we're over here at What's Boss Brewing. All right, we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to Nuggets and Brews, where we're talking Denver Nuggets and we're drinking Colorado Craft Beer. Again, we're here at Woods Boss Brewing. Make sure to come check it out. My name is Misa. I got my good friend Kyle here. All right, so we're going to be doing a little prediction, and we're going to be talking about the Northwest Division, actually, because it was the best division in the Western Conference.
Probably the best division in basketball if you say division. Like, top 3 teams in their conference. Each of these teams, so I believe Nuggets and OKC tied for like the second best record in like the NBA, behind Boston, and then Minnesota was right there. So
yeah, so last year Nuggets and Thunder tied for I think they were 57 wins, but Oklahoma City had the tiebreaker over us, and then Minnesota was like one game behind. It was like 56 wins. So. Yeah. We're going to do a little prediction of like where they're going to land again, and just in the division itself, not in the Western Conference, because you got to win your division. Like, your division games are incredibly important, especially for the Western seeding. But because we are because we are in the toughest division, I want to see where your mind is, Kyle, of like where you think the Nuggets are going to land. Is it going to be 1, 2, 3? Definitely not 4th, because Portland is going to be down there. We don't really care about Portland. We used to when they used to be good, but not anymore. They're going through a huge rebuild phase, so they're just kind of out the window. So we're just talking 1, 2, and 3. Let's start out with number. Who do you think is the?
So let me preface this.
Okay.
To be honest, I don't think there's going to be a huge difference between 1 and 3. I think it's going to be really close again. Number 2, I don't think that really is going to matter in the playoff picture or anything like that. Mm-hmm. I think this is a year where teams like, say, the Nuggets are probably going to focus more on being healthy in the playoffs than seeding or even division records and stuff. But you're right, with these 3 teams being so close and being like where they were in the playoffs last year, you want to play well against them. You want to know that you could beat them. I kind of felt last year were times, like looking at us in the regular season against both these teams, it felt kind of like, are we better than these teams? I don't want to see that this year. But I will say, what I will say is, at the same time, I don't know that I need the Nuggets to be number 1. I mean, for the sake of the podcast, if I would rank them, you can call the Nuggets number 1. But my head says it's probably going to be OKC. And it'll probably be Nuggets 2, and it'll probably be the Timberwolves 3 again.
Okay, so you're seeing it pretty much the same as last year. So
I think the youth of OKC was going to help them in the regular season.
Yeah, let's start out with the Thunder, because over the summer when free agency started, the Bulls and the Thunder traded for Alex Caruso. Josh Giddey goes to Chicago. Alex Caruso comes to OKC. Now that will make him better, but not. I don't think it's going to make him significantly better.
Is it though?
Because it is an aging Alex Caruso, and he's not, and he's just a defensive-minded player.
And let's be honest, Alex Caruso has about the same shooting percentage from 3-point that Giddey did. But are we getting Lakers Alex Caruso? Are we getting Bulls Alex Caruso?
Bulls Alex Caruso was still good. He was still solid. He was very well liked in Chicago.
Well, just like Dellavedova was still good at his second stop, but he wasn't the same as he was when he played alongside LeBron.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying,
is he enough to move the needle?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I don't think he's enough to move the needle.
I think they stay right where they are.
I think Lakers Alex Caruso would move the needle, but I don't think he's Lakers Alex Caruso anymore.
I think they're going to be about the same. Honestly, I think Oklahoma City is going to finish number 2 in the division. I feel like because of Minnesota losing to Dallas last year, I think they're, even though they had home court, right? Even though they have home court, I think they really want to get that number 1 seed, and I think they're really going to fight for that number 1 seed.
I think
Will
so
they get
too,
it? I don't know if they'll get it.
I think they're
going to make a strong push.
I think what you're going to find out. I think losing Kyle Anderson is going to hurt them a little more than.
You think so?
So
they retained most of their players from last year,
right? But we know
he's
one
like
thing.
The only person that,
but we know
that
that
left.
Connolly's older, Gobert's older, Cat doesn't stay healthy. Kyle Anderson was the backup. Was that person that was in there for Cat for most of the year?
Yeah.
If Cat goes down again, you don't have another Kyle. They don't have a Kyle Anderson to put in there now. So that too big lineup that's great to get that, frustrated us in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That doesn't work if you don't have that third piece to rotate because you can't keep both Rudy and Cat in there the whole game.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough to tell with the Timberwolves because they started out so hot last year, and towards the end of the regular season, they didn't fall off completely, but they did have some suspect losses where they dropped them down to third.
But you got to think too, they were number 1 by 5 games for most of the year, and then after the All-Star break.
They did take a
it
hard
wasn't
dip.
just towards the end of the year they kind of tailed off.
Yeah.
There was a hard dip for a second, and then they came kind of back on at the end of the year because at one point they had dropped down into the 5th or 6th seed and came back because there was a time where they were flopping right with the Clippers.
Clippers, yeah, that's true.
And then the Clippers took a hard nosedive.
Yeah.
So, the one thing that I will give you about Minnesota is Anthony Edwards. That dude got a dog in him.
Well, he's also really young, and if they do get that number 1 seed, it is going to be because Anthony Edwards has a phenomenal MVP season. Mm-hmm. Does he have that to carry a team throughout the whole year? I don't know. There were moments in the playoffs where he had 15 points, 20 points, a bunch of turnovers.
Oh yeah, I know.
And people were like, "Oh." They were ragging on him on social media because it was like, "Oh, this is your Jordan, this is your whatever
and he also
person,
had
this is your
and
Flash,
he also had
this is your
games like he
Wade."
had in Game 7 against us. So, but
He's got a great team around him, but it's like, is he going to take that leap of leadership where it's like, no, we're going to be great because I'm going to carry you? I just don't. I think he's one more season. He needs one more season to do it.
That's why I don't put them in the number 1 spot because I don't see this as Anthony Edwards MVP year. I'm looking at this more as is this a 4th MVP for Jokic? Yeah. But this is where I don't put the Nuggets number 1 is because I don't think the Nuggets are going to fight for number 1. I think they're going to say, hey, if we're in a comfortable position towards the end of the year and it's close and it's either winning the division or being healthy in the playoffs, they're going to choose the playoffs this year because they learned. We know from 2023, and we also know even from last year, the playoffs are more important to us now than
absolutely.
Than
and also, the Nuggets have shown that they can win. That's why I was a little surprised that they really went hard to get the number 1 seed last year. And I was like, no, I don't really think you need it. Yeah, just stay healthy.
But that was a big difference because at the end of
at
the end of 2023, we rested Jokic and Murray. Mm-hmm. We gave them plenty of rest. We didn't do that last year. Nope. And I could see us doing that this year. I could see the mentality of. Because look at the Warriors. The Warriors were probably the most recent, what we'd call a dynasty, right? Even though they never did a three-peat, they won enough. They had years they won the championship when they were the 3 to 5 seed. Yeah. Because to them, seeding wasn't important. Yeah. What was important was that Steph and Clay were healthy in the playoffs. Yeah.
This is where I see the division kind of landing. I still think Minnesota might take. I think they're really going to make that push. Regardless of whether, this is just my prediction, and it could be completely crazy. So I think Minnesota's really going to make that push. They're going to make that number. They're going to finish first in the division. Maybe they don't finish number 1 in the West. We're just talking division here. I think they're going to finish with the division title. I think OKC's going to finish second, and I think the Nuggets are going to be comfortable in third.
So said something very interesting there. If the top team in our division doesn't win number 1 in the West, who do you think is going to be the number 1 seed in the West? Considering, because we just said our top 3 were the best.
But that's the thing. It's like you just
don't. The only other team I could think right now because of the move they made is Dallas.
Yeah, I don't think Klay Thompson moves the needle for Dallas. I don't think they.
I mean, they were in the conference championship last year.
They were. I think that was just a matchup
I mean, to be honest, I think if we had advanced, I don't think Dallas would play in the finals.
It would have been a much more fun finals had it been Nuggets Celtics, but
I think it's the one everybody wanted.
And I think it was the one everybody wanted once the Celtics got there. But yeah, I guess you're right. To a certain point, I guess you're kind of spot on because we are the best division. So I guess I do think because I guess all three teams were really vying for that number one seed, and they finished in the conference, the Western Conference, and they really finished like by it was a razor thin margin. Yeah. So I think maybe a couple things flip here and there for Minnesota, and they're going to get some national recognition. I think they have more.
I think the whole division is.
And so
looking at the schedule, looking at the national TV games, yes, the Nuggets by far are still getting the most.
That's really cool
TV
to see.
games,
which is Nuggets fan,
which I think at this point we just earned. I think at this point the TV networks are just tired of people being like, show us Jokic.
But exactly, and I think people are starting to really catch on to the Nuggets of like just how fun it is to watch the Nuggets.
But dude, when we were in Washington, when we were walking to do the podcast. And I'm just walking down the street not Washington, Montana.
Yeah.
And I was just walking down the street in Missoula, and I was wearing my Nugget shirts. The people out shouting out their cars at me, just go Nuggets. And I'm like, shouldn't y'all be rooting for Portland?
I know, right? Never mind. There's no Supersonics.
Or maybe go that way. It'd be Minnesota. Just to see so many people like recognize the Nuggets in some place so far away from Denver was really cool. And so, conversely, I'll tell you, I was in Victoria in Canada a while back.
Okay.
And I was actually wearing this shirt. And all the Canadians were just going nuts because of Jamal Murray.
Hell yeah.
And
that's awesome.
So I was like, okay, the Nuggets are starting to get some reach.
Yeah.
And
there's a big international following for the Nuggets, which is awesome because we do have a lot of international players, but also the NBA now has a lot of international players, and that's really cool to see, honestly. But just in general, I think the Nuggets have like there's a lot of fans in Japan for whatever reason. Like there's quite a few over there. During the COVID year, actually, they would show on the TVs and everything when the tournament was going. There was a lot of people from Japan, like just like, oh, we love Jokic and Murray and all this stuff. So the Nuggets are a bit of an international team, and that's really cool to see.
So we got to take an international trip for our podcast.
I think so.
Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much. Once I'm ready to go.
Nuggets and sake.
Nuggets and sake. That'd be awesome. Oh my goodness. That'd be super cool. But okay, so let's wrap the segment. So you think it's going to stay the same? Thunder 1, Nuggets 2, Minnesota 3.
I think it's going to be tight. I could see either team finishing first. I just don't believe that. I think Oklahoma City will push for it more than the Nuggets will.
Okay.
And they're younger. I think that I don't think they lost as much. I think they stayed even. I think Minnesota took a step back.
Yeah.
Not a huge step back. I'm not saying like move a needle, but but enough that if I had to pick between the two, I'm picking OKC. And I think the Nuggets are the best team out of the three. I just don't think that the Nuggets are going to have that mentality this year
And also the Nuggets are, I feel, because they have a new bench, I think the losses are going to stack up a little bit more because they're still kind of...
Or that bench could win us some games.
Yeah, or they might win us some games.
But more importantly,
I think earlier in the year, there might be a little losses because of the bench. They're trying to kind of figure themselves out a little bit.
But more importantly, I think for the Nuggets this year, they are about a championship. Yeah. And that's it. And whether that's
it's
through
a
the
different mentality
or whether it's through the physique, they don't care how they get there.
Yeah.
So that's where, I think if it's a tight race towards the end of the year and it's like, oh, do we rest Murray and Jokic?
Yeah.
Or do we push for a number one seed? I think we're going to take more of the tact of you know what, we're going to rest our players if we get the seed, whatever.
Yeah. If the Nuggets finish number one, I think it's going to be because of the bench, not because of the. It's because the bench gave enough rest to the starters that were it's the fourth quarter. We're up 20. It's because of the bench. Gave them.
Dude, I'm really excited to see this bench. You know this. We've said this on the podcast. I've said this on the podcast. I'm kind of bullish on the makeup of this bench. I think if it does click, it could be like the counter punch the Nuggets need. Yeah. You have this methodical amoeba of an offense and everything.
And then a fast pace.
And an offense that isn't always our starting five isn't always considered physical. They're not always considered tough.
I think
even though they are.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have Jokic
though.
speed, and all of a sudden you're gonna have Westbrook speed.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, when you think you can get a rest, you're gonna have between him and Watson, and the scoring ability of Strother, the intelligence of Charge.
Yeah.
You may have an opportunity there to really do damage with that bench in ways we haven't seen recently.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's where I kind of like, if that bench turns into that counterpunch, if Jokic and the starters are a mean right hook that just knocks people out, that bench could be a freaking series of jabs that just people just like don't see coming.
I think so too. I mean, and the reason I do have like Nuggets number 3 in the division is because I think there's going to be just earlier losses earlier in the year because they're still going to be figuring a little bit things out, and I think those losses early in the year just kind of do stack up, towards the end of the year. But I think for us, I think it's going to be like how are the Nuggets playing closer to the playoffs, and I think that's way more important, as you said, than actually having to chase the number 1 seed for something that's
I would only qualify that because I haven't delved into the schedule too much. It depends on how front-loaded our schedule is.
It's not too bad.
So if it's not too bad, I'm not worried about it because I think there's enough games in there where our starting five will just win the game.
Let's look at the schedule right now.
Yeah.
Let's just look at the first like 2 months. Because the way you're talking, I'm like, it depends on who we're playing. If we're playing a lot of really like if we're playing, the Thunder 4 times, 2 times. So obviously,
opening night.
So Thunder opening night, and then you got Clippers, Raptors, Nets, Timberwolves, Jazz, Raptors, Thunder, Heat, Mavericks, Pelicans.
Okay, so it is pretty.
So you do have a lot of Western Conference teams.
I mean,
but you don't.
But we're hitting the division early, and that's where you're talking about.
But in between, like the Thunder and like
and the Timberwolves and the Mavericks,
there's teams that. From last year, the Nuggets had the number on. You got Lakers, Knicks, Jazz.
Even before you said Grizz, Raptors.
So until like December, November in general, there's quite a few Western Conference teams, and so that's why I'm saying like there might be some stacked losses that for earlier in the year. Probably Anna's gonna be like, oh my god, the Nuggets don't look right or whatever. But I think they're just discovering themselves a little bit more because there's just like some fresh faces, but I don't think it's going to be detrimental to the later part of the year, which is like the most important part, where it's like if you're just playing right at the right time, you can definitely make damage, and that's what happened whenever the Nuggets won their championship. They were playing the best basketball at the right time, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen this year.
And that's all we could hope for. I think that's the point both of us have been trying to make, is that, and that's why I think neither one of us was bullish on the Nuggets making a real push for those higher seeds.
And also the reason I'm saying Minnesota really wants the number 1 seed is one, because I think Anthony Edwards is going to take another leap because he's been taking the leap. But I think because they had to face the Nuggets at home, even though they won here in Game 7, I think that really messed them up, like having to go up against Dallas because they had to do extra travel days to come to Denver. And even though they had home court advantage in the first round versus the Suns, I think they're really going to want that number 1 seed.
I think too.
But I don't think they're going to get it.
I think there's a danger with Minnesota too, with the Mavs exposing them
That is true.
That the Mavs showed.
They showed
how you beat this team.
Yeah.
And what they really showed is if you don't try to copy Denver against Minnesota, you can beat them because they're built to beat Denver, and if you're trying to emulate Denver, then they're going to stack up well against you. But if you go completely opposite of what we do, you go to a ISO heavy style like with Luka and Kyrie.
But they have the shooters to do it though.
But you go with the guard.
And that's where they got hurt. Was like,
well, it wasn't
the Mavs have a lot of shooters. And I that's what it exposed.
And they just added another one.
Yeah, and they just added another one. So that's what exposed them. It was like you beat Minnesota just by just hitting your shots, which is another thing that
the Nuggets
Game 7
do in that third quarter.
Game 7 was like, damn, we couldn't hit a 3 to save our lives, and I think that's what it came down to. It was 3-point shooting where we couldn't hit a damn 3. But anyways, we're gonna wrap up that segment. It's going to be a fun division. So, again, these are just predictions. We're just kind of rambling. But anyways, let's talk a little bit about Jokic. We have a couple minutes left on the podcast. Jokic, what are you looking forward to Jokic? I know he's great. What are you looking forward to?
The thing about with Jokic is, like, it's hard not to over fanboy. And it's hard to pick any one play. But I think one thing that is the joy about having Jokic on the team, or the joy of just watching Jokic in general, is when you think you've seen the best of Jokic, he does something even more incredible. And it's hard, like, I can't predict what it's going to be.
That's what's so great about him.
Every season, there's been a moment or multiple moments or multiple games or everything where you just go, where it's just like I thought I've seen everything from him, and then he just did something more incredible. I mean, last year was the Golden State game in Golden State.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just like,
that was the first time I've ever seen Jokic like be that like enamored with like a game-winning shot. Like, we've seen game-winning shots by Jokic. That is the first time I've ever seen Jokic like just go like.
Have you ever seen a design play to a center to take a 50-foot freaking shot?
That was wild.
That was designed.
That was absolutely.
That's why they didn't even defend it. They were just in shock. They're like,
you're really gonna? So. Dude, I mean, Jokic is just phenomenal. I did watch a lot of Serbia games this year because, Peacock made it super easy to watch the Olympics, and that whole app was like, I went home, I would rewatch the Serbia games. I'm like, damn, this just no matter where you put Jokic, he's just phenomenal. He's gonna make everybody better.
Yeah.
And the dude is just like he's straight up magic. Like,
yeah, and to be honest,
not to diss on Magic Johnson, but he's just like a magician. Like, he just does some
Jokic
things.
Jokic is a wizard.
He's a
Magic Johnson.
There we go. He's a wizard.
Is magic, but Jokic is a wizard.
Yeah. He just does things that you're just like, how is this dude able to do this with just minimal effort? And when he does like put 110%, it's like, whoa, holy crap, this guy is like on another level. And I honestly, I think Jokic might. Obviously, he's going to be in the MVP conversation every year. Yeah. It doesn't matter because just the stats that he puts up, it's just absolutely ridiculous. I don't think he's going to win another MVP this year. He might still win 2 more down the road, but I think just the voter fatigue for this year might actually be in effect. But also, what if he has a better statistical season than last year?
We said that. We've said that before.
Yeah. And
now, to be fair, the voter fatigue did prevent him from getting the three-peat.
That is true. Yeah.
But I think because of that,
but that was a narrative thing as well.
But I think there is still kind of this people giving Jokic more of a because of that. Mm-hmm. And then last year he was just a clear run away because Joel got hurt. I think it would have been a lot closer with Joel hadn't gotten hurt and gotten disqualified. At the same time, the Joel Embiid thing to me is getting old. It's me like too. I'm sorry the first half, 2/3 of a season, you're the best player in the NBA. And then you get hurt, you don't show up for the rest of the playoffs, or even when you're not hurt, you sit out most of the second half. You never come to Denver. Never come to Denver, except for the one time in 2019, and I was there whenever Jokic hit the game winner on you. And you don't show up in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That dude never shows up in the playoffs.
I think him not showing up in the playoffs and having another bad playoff performance, I think that really set, like, it really sat wrong with the voters. They're like, it almost.
When he won?
There was talks.
Game 7, he went out there and did 14 points. He looked disengaged.
There was talks of him like, why do we vote for him? Like, there was even Stephen A. Smith like, why?
Not only that,
I can't believe we voted for this guy.
During Jokic making one of the most historic playoff runs in history, or if not the most historic playoff run in history. If you look at Jokic's stats, that playoff run in 2023, it was literally the most. Like, it was incredible. Like, he pretty much averaged a triple-double. He was the first player in the entire league, ever in the history of the league, to lead the entire playoffs in points, assists, and rebounds.
He also did it in the Olympics. How crazy is that?
Yeah, first player to do that too. First player with multiple triple-doubles in the Olympics.
That's wild, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, Jokic is just phenomenal, and we can't wait to see him again because I can't believe he's a Denver Nugget. I'm still like, I can't believe he won as a championship. I can't believe we're in like the best era of basketball and also the best era in Nuggets basketball.
Me and you became friends during the George Karl years, the end of the George Karl years. And we became friends because of the Nuggets.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know, we actually met because we worked together. And it's just randomly, we were sharing a shift and talked about the Nuggets, and it was like, you like the Nuggets? I like the Nuggets.
You want to go out?
You watch a game? Started watching games together.
Now we sit next to each other.
And then we lived through the Brian Shaw years.
Oh, that was rough.
And you want to talk about dismal? I mean, we were going to games where we would get tickets for free because you would go on StubHub, and the people were literally like, just take my ticket.
Honestly, I did not watch. I watched like the first half year, the Brian Shaw years, and I did not want to watch the other half before he got fired, and then I barely watched half of the first year of Malone because I was like, I'll give it a little bit of time. We watched a
little bit of Malone, the first Malone year. The second
also,
Malone,
I didn't have altitude back then.
The second Malone year, we watched a lot.
Yeah, we did.
That's where we kind of fell in love with Jokic Murray.
Yeah.
That was the Jimmy Butler beating us on the last game.
Still hurts. But you know what? I think that made the Nuggets a lot better. So.
But I mean, we suffered too, but we saw the spark. I mean, I remember the first time we saw Jokic,
something. We were like, "Damn, this can be something special." And
I was like, I remember calling you up one day, like, did you watch the game? I know we got our butts kicked, but did you see this Serbian kid come off the bench?
Yeah.
You know.
Damn.
And then
what a long. That feels like ages ago, and it is. It's like 8 years ago. So
I mean,
but still, what a way to like. Where we are now, we were back then. It's like it seems unfathomable, but at the same time, we're so happy we're here.
And you know what?
We got a chip out of it.
The way with Jokic
and we might get more.
The way with Jokic plays, we could be sitting here for another 10 years, literally with Jokic.
True. That is true.
He said he wants to be our Tim Duncan.
He said it himself. So I hope that comes to fruition because why wouldn't we won 5 championships?
Yeah.
In like 10 years or something like that.
14 straight years going to the second round or higher.
And so right now the Nuggets have the second longest playoff appearance, or is it first? I think it's one or the other. I can't remember who's got the first. It's probably Boston that has like the longest playoff.
Yeah, I think
playoff appearance
in the modern
NBA.
era.
But anyways, we're gonna wrap it up. We rambled up a little longer, but you know what? Actually, I just got a new camera, so hopefully it looks good once I edit it and stuff like that. So I got a new Sony FX30, and hopefully it looks much better than my last camera.
And the last thing is a cheers. We did get different beers.
I got what he had last time, and then he got. What did you get this time?
This is they called it a noir saison, so it's a barrel aged red saison. It's similar to like a Flanders red. It's very tasty.
Okay,
a little sour, a little funky.
Sweet. Well, anyways, all right. Well, that wraps up today. We can't wait for another. We can't wait for the Nuggets to just get going. So right. October, please get here soon because we want like Nuggets news to kind of start coming in. So anyways, we're gonna keep doing this. We're gonna be going to other breweries and stuff like that. And we're gonna talk some Nuggets and throughout the season. Hopefully, I have a little bit more access into the Nuggets, and you'll be seeing just different content and stuff like that. Yep. So kind of mix it up. And we have what's your name?
Nathan.
So Nathan, he actually served our beer, and he was like super awesome. Are you a Nuggets fan?
Huge Nuggets fan, yeah. I love this shirt.
Nathan, who is your favorite player? Who is your favorite all-time Nuggets player? And then also, who is your current favorite player right now?
I'm going to change it up. My all-time favorite player is Michael Jordan. I'll tell you my age. My second all-time favorite player is Nikola Jokic by a long shot. People don't know how good he is.
You heard it here first, guys. But anyways, we were just wrapping up. But hey, thank you so much for allowing us to record and for being such an awesome host. And we love your beer and we love this. We love the atmosphere here. So thank you so much for hosting us, and we'd love to come back again.
Anytime. I love our beer too. I love the Nuggets. I was not an NBA fan for a lot of years after Michael Jordan retired, and then I got to the Nuggets when back in the Carmelo Chauncey days.
Yeah, and now good years too.
My friends from the Midwest, I'm like, you got to watch the Nuggets. They're like, no, this guy's boring. He's top. He's going to be a top 10 player when it's all over and done.
Absolutely.
Never seen anyone as skilled. And our beer is really good. It's a good time to be in Denver.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Championship parades almost every year.
Almost.
Last year we didn't have.
Hey,
but that was a very small drought in like 3 years in a row,
Right.
So
for sure. Here's my bold prediction.
Oh, here we go. I love bold predictions.
Russell Westbrook is going to have his best year in a long time because he's playing with the best facilitator ever to play the game of basketball. He's going to be an all-star.
Love that take.
If Russell Wilson, Russell Westbrook,
wrong Russell,
especially in this town.
The guy who's going to do this tomorrow, he'll be here tomorrow.
If Russell Westbrook is an all-star coming off the bench for the Nuggets, then Jamal Murray is an all-star for the Nuggets.
Absolutely.
I would love to see him be an all-star. He's never been able to piece together a whole season. He's at times looked like one of the best players ever. He seems to be like Michael Jordan against the Lakers. But I just think Joker's going to make him have Russell have a resurgence type of year. It's also interesting that it's probably have there even been more career triple doubles on a team?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Between two active
Yeah,
players.
So Russell Westbrook holds the all-time right now.
He's number one.
He's number one at 198 or something like that, and then Jokic is at 5th, and he's he
No, he's
broke-
4th. He passed
he's
LeBron.
4th. Yeah,
He's probably going to pass Magic this year.
Yep.
Yeah,
soon,
so
right?
he's
Yeah.
4th, and he has the all-time record for centers.
By far. Like,
Yeah.
way-
He passed Will Chamberlain like 2022.
Yeah.
Well, if Will Chamberlain's blocks would have been recorded, he probably would have more triple doubles.
doubles, just on
He
blocks,
also was way taller than everybody else.
Yeah, in a league that only had 15 teams or something like that.
Well, anyways, Nathan, we're just wrapping up. So, thank you so much for joining us, Nuggets and Brews. Thanks so much for Nathan for coming along and chipping in and stuff like that. But make sure to check us out, Nuggets and Brews, on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, and wherever. So, check us out. So, cheers, everybody, and go Nuggets! And we can't wait to see more Nikola Jokic.
Yep.
Awesome.
Take
Yeah,
care.
have another beer with me.
All right,
Will do.
awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
See ya. All right, well, there you have it, guys. Have an awesome day, and we'll catch you on the next podcast, next show. My name's Misa. I got my good friend Kyle here, watching Nuggets and Brews. Adios, amigos.